talk about what started in the US entertainment industry, but rapidly gets to gain traction in India, France, South Korea, Nigeria, Egypt, amongst others. Notice something? All of these countries do not fall under one. Okay, and so we have talked about the rise of global mechanisms, social media. We have named the problem, and we're having one of the most profound effects of today's program, and it is our guest, Unwanfon. Hello, Unwanfon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rita. Thank
Good.
you so much for having
It is my pleasure to have you. And so today we are talking about social media and how it has affected feminism. We want to know what your all-round thought, your overview on what exactly you think social media has been able to do positively or negatively for the feminist movement.
I would be saying that social media has been a powerful tool that has influenced our view of feminism, all right? Because before now, historically, traditional feminism focused on women and gender equality, talking about gender issues, but it was done only through legislative and policy changes, through protests, picketing, and lobbying strategies, going out there on the streets before their voices were heard. But the advent of social media has increased the awareness of women's rights issues. It has brought it closer to the audience, to the masses. All right. We see how feminists use traditional messaging, for instance, and social media platforms to spread awareness about gender inequality and to also advocate for change using social media platforms. Okay. So I see social media as a place that has given women a platform to share their stories, talk about their personal experiences, connect with like-minded individuals, and organize protests and movements. Like it has a way of just bringing it closer to the grassroots level, to people out there on the streets, because almost everyone have the access to social media. So it has really from the help feminist communities to promote their resources, okay, to share information and women empowerment, acquire new skills, and just stay informed about the latest developments in our various fields. Also connect women with mentorship programs because all of those things tell us, okay, this is what is happening, this is what should be, this is what should not be. So it has really connected women to with mentorship programs, workshops, and networking opportunities can further help their personal development and professional growth. Okay, so social media has really allowed us themselves creatively and authentically. It has really advanced feminism out there. And one thing about about the media is that
All right, we will be communicating with Nwaphon very, very soon. And Nwaphon has said quite a lot about what social media, in a general sense, has been able to do for the feminism movement. Of course, she will be sharing even more digital activism with us and the ability of all of these invisible operations that has been worked together with on social media. So when we bring Nwaphon back, she did mention that there has been successful protests, there has been mentorship programs, there have been empowerment programs for the female child, okay? And so she's going to be giving us specific examples, naming all of those examples of those things specifically that social media has been able to do, the part social media has been able to play, okay, in making sure that feminism and women empowerment is getting even more profound, and all of the attention. You have to stay with us. Do not touch the amazing dial. We'll go on this break and we will run right back.
Newborn Umoran, which was like an online campaign created by activists due to the disappearance of a young woman on her way to work. Findings were made, and this online campaign brought about justice at the end. Right, the perpetrator of apprehended, and then justice was served. That's a specific example of how social media has helped the feminist movement. And then in 2017, there was the Me Too campaign. It was also a hashtag that was born, Me Too campaign, which was understood as the zenith of the previous social campaign. Okay, it was like a movement where people came to address sexual violence, talk about things that are happening, negative things that are happening to women, talk about sexual assault, and a whole lot of topics concerning harassment. Okay, so that hashtag was used all over the world. That was in 2017. All right. But aside from that, we also have examples of people who are out there to shout about this thing, to talk about this thing. For instance, we have Ziwe Fomodo. Ziwe Fomodo is a writer. He's a Black American writer and also a comedian who uses her talk show, Ziwe, to discuss issues related to gender, race, and sexuality. Okay, she uses satire. She uses satire to bring attention to serious matters, and also encourages her audience to think critically about the world around them. So we see how her unique approach to activism has gained her a large following, and also help people understand feminism. It has also helped people to understand feminism, to understand what is happening through her show, through the way show. We also have another example, Malela Yousafzai, who is a Pakistan education activist. She's out there doing a whole lot, and then her voice has become prominent when it has to do with women's rights and freedom. We see how Malela also uses social media to continue her activism and promote education for girls globally. She talks about female empowerment and education, and all of these things are seen in the media. Now, her foundation, Malela Fund, rather, has helped to provide educational opportunities for girls in developing countries. But she talks about these things, and everything is out there. I believe she has a greater audience. And then with this, people get to learn about feminism, about things that are happening, about women empowerment. And that is how she also educates women who are out there in Pakistan. Then in Nigeria, we're talking about specific examples using individuals who are out there. In Nigeria, we have Chimamanda Adichie, who is also an activist, a feminist, who uses TED Talk, personal speeches, and then her shows to talk about feminism, to talk about gender inequality and women's marginalization. We have all of these things in the media. And from there, people get to learn about women's rights and freedom, women's oppression and things that are happening. It's more like a call to action to others to take freedom seriously. Thank you so much.
Pointed out, all of these different climes of the world that have been able to use their platforms and their voices to talk about feminism and clearing off the misunderstandings on it. But let's also talk about what you think or what you know are the drawbacks and limitations on the persons who promote feminism on social media.
Can you repeat that particular question?
The drawbacks and the limitations of promoting feminism movement on social media.
All right, so the limitations I feel or the drawbacks. The first thing I have noticed personally is the hate speech. Right, we have online harassment where people talk about feminists negatively. Right, they bring things up just to should I say soil or maybe paint the whole picture black. So we see harmful comments and sometimes even threats that make feminists to think twice, to think, am I even doing the right thing for standing up against women marginalization? Am I on the right track? It just makes them think twice. All those hate speeches and harassment online. And then another thing that I is like an issue is this information and misinformation in the sense that people bring up stories or ideas that are untrue intentionally just to paint that picture of feminism. Right? You see how people create posts, talk about things that are not true, that feminists are bad people, terrible people, people should not associate with the feminists. And this is so bad. This is so bad because it makes these feminists to feel, am I doing the right thing? Am I even supposed to do this? Am I even supposed to stand up for women's rights? And then we also see misinformation in the sense that there are some people that are not so grounded in feminism, don't really know about the foundation, how it started, and then they just wake up one day and they start, talking about different ideas that are not even found in the tenet of feminism. Now, when it happens like this, it paints a bad picture of the movement. It makes it look as if the movement, as if they're standing for something else entirely. Meanwhile, it is not true. So we see how all of these things acts as drawback or limitation to how feminism is portrayed in social media.
Thank you so much for being on the program with us, Mwamfon. For want of time, I would love to continue this conversation, but let me host you another time because there is a lot to talk about, really. Okay, and so we have been able to talk about social media, its limitations, specific examples of people who have benefited, and people even down to Nigeria who have used their platforms to talk about feminism and change the misconstrued meaning of feminism in this part of the world. And so I hope you have been able to have a nice time listening in, getting information and being educated on the program today. Well, you do well to keep a date with me next week, Friday. We would have another elaborative, interesting and educating conversation on the program. My name is Rita Inung, and I have had the pleasure of being your host on the program Empower Her. Do well to have a nice day and usher in the weekend with a smile on your face.